Welcome back to Florida Powerboat Club on YouTube. It's time for more powerboating in paradise with members of the Florida Powerboat Club. Stu Jones and producer Ryan McCoy here in the Pompano Beach studio, getting ready to give you guys some exciting Tampa Bay action. That's right, I know you guys love this event. 13th annual Tampa Bay Poker Run, or as we call it in the magazine, Thunder on the Bay, where we return to downtown Tampa and the Tampa Convention Center as our home port, with a great selection of headquarter hotels as well as nighttime entertainment. Our presenting sponsor for the FPC 2023 series of events is Mercury Racing, celebrating 50 years of wide open. And by these sponsors in alphabetical order: Big Thunder Marine, Blackwater Boats, Cigarette Racing Team, Concept Boats, Deep Impact Custom Boats, Doug Wright Power Boats, Fountain Power Boats, Midnight Express Boats, Nortec High Performance Boats, Performance Boat Center, Plantation Boat Mart, SD Marine Group Isla Morada, Statement Marine, and Top Gun Performance, dealers for cigarette racing. And speaking of nighttime, here is a sneak peek of downtown Tampa as our videographer Joe rolled into town on Thursday night with a nice harbor shot from the deck at American Social. And on Friday morning, here's what it looks like from the hotel room at the Marriott Water Street, looking down at the marina. Of course, a lot of those powerboats are attending the poker run, but all the action now over here at the Tampa Convention Center docks, which we rented once again. And look at that row of Midnight Expresses. And yeah, you can understand why Mercury Racing is having a good year. But we're not going to spend much time on the dock this morning. We're going to get out on the waterways immediately because I promised everybody a two-day agenda, which includes a Friday fun run as well as a more formal and structured poker run on Saturday. And of course, on both days, we're going to be flying. This time it's with Tampa Bay Aviation. And looking from the Peter O. Knight Airport, I can see a bunch of boats already ripping out through the harbor. That's the Seddon Channel. And it's kind of a good vantage point to be if you want to catch all the power boats. That's exactly what I did from my Flight 1130 cigarette. I sat out here in the channel so I could get a lot of high-speed shots as the boats go by. And you can see we've got great attendance already here on this Friday morning. A bunch of statements going by with great representation actually from the local builder statement with about 10 boats registered. But really just getting a chance to get the lay of the land, let everybody get out into the open bay waters. And we do have a very casual course established for the day, but my main objective as an organizer is to keep the guys out on the waterways and running the boats so that we can make good use of that helicopter time, because of course once everybody gets docked for lunch, we're going to lose the helicopter, but more importantly we lose that great big group setting which helps us get these cool shots. And for those of you who are trying to establish just how many boats are on the run now, well, you might have counted 20 or 25 so far. Altogether, 62 registered teams on the event. Great representation from Nortec with 11 registered teams. I mentioned earlier, Statement had a good showing also with 10 registered statements. Midnight Express, 7 boats here in Tampa, which is great for midnight, followed by MTI with 5 entries. But we're going to go through all of that at the end of the entire series with what we call the By the Numbers segment. We're going to give you guys all of those details. And now in the cockpit of this Robinson R44 flying out of Peter O. Knight Airport, a great location really logistically where you take off and immediately you're out over the water and catching up with the poker run fleet. Very scenic. Of course, Tampa Bay area being a great place to live if you want to enjoy the boating lifestyle. And a great group shot now as we catch up to some of the statements. And wasting no time getting in on the action as we catch up to these two skaters. Chris Lamort on the right with his 36 skater. And over on the left, that is Joe Castellana Jr. with that 388. It's got a pair of Mercury Racing 1100s. Might indicate why he's pulling ahead just a little bit. But I'm also guessing he's going to look over his shoulder and see his buddy Chris running up alongside and maybe go, well, why don't we just keep the two boats together for a little bit? It's kind of a neat shot. And it looks like that's exactly what he did as he pulled back on the throttles. And, of course, Chris says, I'm having none of it. I'm getting on these throttles. I'm going to crank up these Mercury Racing 700s. And there's no doubt he's going to push a little harder because he's got his buddy Eric Breckenfelder on board. And he also owns a skater. They love running fast. And they already got in some good boating a day earlier. They came all the way up from Sarasota on their own bottom. So Chris Lamort is certainly going to put some hours on this 2000 model year Skater 36. He does a lot of poker runs with FPC, and in the summer months, he's back up around New Jersey. And now I'm going to spend a little time with Joey Castellano from New York. It's Joe Jr., and of course, he and his father, Joey Sr., do a lot of poker runs together. This is a 2010 Skater 388, but just recently repowered. The first run with these new Mercury Racing 1100s. All the rigging done by Grant Signature Racing. And a great group shot, starting off here with Jerry and Susan Hartman from Pennsylvania in their new 38. And here's James Paris from Ohio in his 35 statement, triple Mercury Racing 300Rs. And all the way from Canada, Greg Collinson in his 35 statement, triple Mercury Racing 400s. And one of our local teams who does this event every year, Keith and Emily Overton. And this is also a 38 with triple Mercury 350 Verados. And we all know that Robert McAtee likes to change his boats up quite often. He's now running this Statement 36 Cat, a pair of Mercury Racing 450Rs, color matched to the graphics on the boat. He said in his video bio he was glad to be back in the Statement family, would imply he probably had a Statement before, but this is his first Cat, and he says he's loving it. And here's another crew that seems to love this Tampa Bay event, coming back every year. Brad Hancock says from Florida. He's also, of course, from Georgia. Team All Hail is a 43-foot Midnight Solstice, 5 Mercury Racing 450Rs. He just took delivery of the boat a few months earlier, so seems to be enjoying these Midnights. Is already his second one. Captain Pete Waller at the helm, as always, who manages the boat and the logistics of getting it here to the poker run. And yes, the pink bikini, well, that might be somebody that we now know as Amy here, our new hospitality manager at FPC. And you might as well get used to seeing a lot of new center consoles on the circuit. And now Simon Williams from Cortez Cove Marina, representing the Fountain brand, and seems to be loving this new Fountain 38 SCX model. This one's powered by triple Mercury 400 V10s, and they have another 38 SCX registered for the run. And it looks like the Statement group have slowed down just a little. I think they were just gathering everybody up so they could get back on plane as a group and head to the next lunch stop. Their destination is going to be Finn's at Apollo Beach. And one more time with Greg Collinson in this 35 statement, triple 400s. Came all the way from Canada to join us. And I've got to say that about these Canadians. Remember, COVID shut down the borders from Canada to the U.S. for at least 2 years. So these Canadians with powerboats are out to play and play hard. Since last fall, I'm glad to see he squeezed in the Key West run and Tampa now before he heads back to Canada for the summer months. And happy to see Tony and Jessica Gilo back in Team NINO. It's a 43 Midnight Open Quad Mercury Racing 450Rs. They were joined by their friends, the Johnsons from Tennessee, doing their first poker run. They said that they enjoyed meeting all of the other Midnight Express owners. And I want to congratulate this couple. This 43 is a big step from the 39 they owned a few years back. And I guess this is why they wanted to meet all the Midnight owners, because, you know, Midnight guys are all about showmanship, as indicated by this little group shot. We saw a lot of this in the Miami Boat Show poker run, with a little bit of cheerleading from the Midnight Express co-owner Eric Laser and his wife Hagen. The Midnight owners get together and put on a great show always, not just out here on the water, where they've gotten themselves into a nice formation. That's David Landsman in the orange boat, Eric and Hagen in the center, leading in the 43, and that is Zach Polsky in the red 43. But this is the kind of stuff I absolutely love seeing, that they get together and make best use of the helicopter. So out here on the water, showmanship, high points, guys, big thumbs up for doing this. And of course, even dockside, they know how to put on a show. Well, you don't have to believe me, guys. We'll just wait for a little later in the show in case you have any doubts about that. And now the helicopter's going to get a little love to Zach and Christy Polsky in their 43 Midnight. They're from New Jersey. An interesting point about Zach is that he, like David Landsman, who's in the orange boat, they're in the car business. You know, they're car dealers, and car dealers do things a little differently than the rest of us. They buy and sell a lot of toys. So let's just wait and see where Zach ends up, because I'm guessing it's going to be another boat by the end of summer. And another fun couple that enjoy doing poker runs, Chris and Shelby Mattingly from Kentucky, enjoying their 43-foot Midnight Solstice, 5 Mercury Racing 450Rs, color-matched engine cowlings to the graphics on the boat. This is a beautiful package, guys. I gotta say, love seeing this boat on the runs. We usually see them on the Key West Poker Run every year, sometimes on the Miami Boat Show run. Here they are in Tampa, and I know they love Destin, where we first met them. That's way back when they had a 46-foot outer limits. And a quick shout out to Shelby, who has joined our friends at speedonthewater.com as a sales representative. And the whole group money shot. Guys, it's contagious as we now see 4 fountains getting together. Looks like Aaron Swafford in the gray boat, and running up front, that's Simon Williams in the 38 SCX, his partner John Lynch in another 38, and I think that's one of our new guys, Kevin Kugler, in the 42 Lightning. And now closing in on Aaron Swafford with this 38 fountain SC4 Mercury Racing 400s Team 4 play. Aaron, of course, we all know as the manager of the nearby Harbor Ridge Marina, which many of us use to stage our boats and get our fuel and get our services. Today, riding along with him, friends Mike and Nicole, as well as Will Kufis and his girlfriend Carrie. And Aaron tells us in his video bio that he's had this boat for about 2 years, but it's actually his 3rd fountain. He absolutely loves it, and he's planning on heading to the Lotto Shootout this summer to run the quad center console class. And it just so happens the timing is such that he just returned from Lotto. And yes, indeed, he did win that class at 93 miles per hour. Congratulations. Okay, now it's the Simon and John show. Simon on the right, John on the left. Of course, once again, that 38-foot fountain SCX. Got the triple Mercury V10s, the new motors that just came out. Simon says he's loving the power and the performance of these motors. What's not to love? As well as the fact that this is a brand new model from Fountain. We saw them down at the Miami Boat Show. It's more geared towards poker runs. And both Simon and John represent Cortez Cove Marina in Bradenton, Florida. They are the new dealer for Fountain powerboats on the Gulf Coast. And if you guys can just imagine this photo right here and this photo op, just so happens that Pete captured the money shot, and right about here, because I remember those stacks in the background, right about here, he captured the magic moment, and that is going to be the calendar page for the Cortez Cove Fountain sponsorship on the Florida Powerboat Club's 2024 wall calendar. So there you go. And now a textbook move by our helicopter pilot as we slide over here on top of John Lynch's 38-foot Fountain SC model. Triple Mercury Racing 450Rs, a different layout than the boat we just saw earlier. This one, the SC model, got a different T-top on it, but it does have the double row seating, so it is ideal for poker runs. And I'm just guessing, but this may have been the boat that Simon Williams used to do his Gateway Marathon speed record from Palm Beach to Grand Bahama and back. Welcome to the Cortez Cove Marina, guys. They're new with our club this year and based in Bradenton, Florida. In addition to being boat dealers, are also a full-service boat yard. And it's another old school fountain, a 2000 model year 38 Fountain Lightning powered by Mercury, 500 EFIs all whippled up. And a very special welcome to Kevin Kugler and Andrea Sneed, his girlfriend. Team Stimulus Package. They came all the way from Ohio. Did about a 2,000-mile round trip to be here. Their very first time with the Florida Powerboat Club, so a very special welcome. And a very young couple. Love to see that new young blood in the club. 29 years old for Kevin, 28 for his girlfriend, and they're very happy to be here. They love being around all the high-performance boats. And a very big welcome back to Tony and Laurel Tuskov from Team Joint Ventures, a 39-foot Nortec. And nice to see them back. It's been a while because Tony joined the club probably 20 years earlier with a 36-foot skater and did a bunch of poker runs with us. So nice to see this couple back. They're from Maryland, but they have a place in Punta Gorda just south of where we are today, and they came up on their own bottom a day earlier. It's their first time doing the Tampa Bay Poker Run. And a little trivia before we say goodbye. The Team Joint Venture has to do with their opening up of a new cannabis dispensary in Maryland. Congratulations. And another first-time crew. This is Brett and Tricia Patterson in Team Deep Inner It's a brand new Deep Impact 369 Sport model, triple Mercury Racing 300Rs. And I love the fact that this couple came down from the Kentucky area. They did a lot of boating around Lake Cumberland before they decided, well, Florida's probably a good place to be, so they now live in Cape Coral. First time doing the Tampa Bay Poker Run, joining the group from Deep Impact. And while it may be their first time here on the Tampa Run, it's not their first rodeo. They joined us for the big Key West Poker Run last November. This new 369 picks up the similar design feature that they introduced on the 399 model with the new windshield and T-top. What a great looking boat. And another nice slide from the pilot. Now this time over to Mark and Eileen Fisher and their 399 Deep Impact. Well, at least it's theirs for the weekend. It actually belongs to club member Paul Bertucci from Mississippi, who couldn't make it this weekend to be here at the Poker Run, but being a good, loyal customer and a good friend with Mark and Eileen, he said, "No, you want to use my boat? Go ahead." This is a 399 from the previous generation, so it does have a different T-top and roof line, but again, a very stylish center console. Paul likes plain vanilla. Got the nice clean lines about the hull and similar white cowlings with a little touch of gray on those 4 Mercury 350 Verados. We look forward to seeing Paul at the upcoming Emerald Coast Powerboat Week. And it's one more time for Frank Schiel, and all the way from Germany, joining us with this Nortec 36 Supercat Mercury Racing 700s, tweaked out to 880 horsepower aside. What an amazing scene. We love the speed and the sound of this boat. Frank says that Tampa is his favorite poker run. Well, it's been a great morning so far, getting a lot of good aerials. Now I'm going to slow things down a bit as we head off to the lunch stops. Craig Blankenship and his brand new, well, new to him anyway, 35 statement with triple 400s. And I am running quads today on the FPC girls scene. That is Maddie and Hannah and Kitty and Chase riding along on flight 1130. And our destination here today is the Getaway, popular waterfront eatery here in St. Petersburg. And altogether 3 lunch stops, really. We had to mix things up because of the size of the pack. Almost all of the boats that are registered are out for the lunch stop today. We had the ability to put about 20 to 25 boats in here. And you know, with these big Midnight Express center consoles, it doesn't take long to fill the docks up. And some nice hardware, Nortec 390, Midnight Express 43 Solstice. Brad Hancock and his crew, we caught up with them on the dock.
All hail!
Woo! And a fantastic lineup of high-performance hardware here at the Getaway. And as I said earlier, you can see it doesn't take long to fill things up, especially when you close the gap with 2 rafting rows and you can't fit any more boats on the inside basin. But no big deal. It all worked out fine. And remember, we have 3 different lunch stops, so we didn't hang around here too long. We stopped off and made sure everybody was having fun. Then we moved it on over here to Dock Ford's, which is at the St. Pete Pier, having a little fun with the local wildlife, so to speak, on this 38 Top Gun belonging to Alan Lima. And Captain Austin having his little wildlife experience. We try to provide a full level of entertainment on all of our Poker Run events. Of all the boats you could have landed on, you picked a cigarette. So otherwise, a nice visit here. Stop number 2 for our lunch fun run on Friday. Dock Ford's, first time for everybody here. Everyone seemed to like it a lot. Floating docks, plenty of room to raft up, and a great restaurant with awesome food. So I think this was a big hit. And our third location was Finn's over at Apollo Beach on the opposite side of Tampa Bay. That's where all the statements went for their Friday afternoon lunch. Everyone said it was a great stopover at Finn's. We hope we can get there next time. And back in downtown Tampa, we took the back way in through the port of Tampa and came up on these Dragon Boat guys testing and practicing for the next competition. And with a little bit of coaxing, we got them to put on a great show. Check this out. Well, that's the first time I've really seen a fully competitive team going at it, but they are very popular here in Tampa. In fact, they have their own facility just up the Hillsborough River, not far from where we're at right now. So I'm going to get a chance to take the cigarette for a little ride up the river, and I'll be able to show you a shot of that facility here in Tampa. But just something that's kind of unique to Tampa and part of the backdrop here of being in downtown Tampa Harbor. And speaking of sights you might see here in downtown Tampa Harbor, depending on what time of day it is and what day it is, I can assure you one thing. Well, when the poker run is in town, there's going to be a lot of action here on the docks, especially with Team Midnight Express and all of their spirited teams, especially at the end of the run when the boats get tied up and the stereos get turned up. I think it's kind of a stereo wars competition, but sooner or later, one boat is going to be the official nightclub for the show, and the girls get out with their matching bikinis, and that's about when the party begins. And that, of course, is a party foul on the right side of your screen with that dude up on top of the T-top. No, absolutely, that is reserved for the girls. And you'll notice that a lot of the people have put C-deck on their T-tops now for that particular reason. And I think pretty soon, Midnight Express will be installing a custom aluminum ladder for getting up and down safely. I think we need to have that. And I always answer when somebody calls me and says, hey, I want to come down and be a spectator for the poker run. Where's the best place to go? And hey there. And I always tell them, why don't you come down to the docks at about 5 o'clock on Friday afternoon when we all come back from our fun run. And they've been on the dock for about an hour, and they're had a few drinks, and, you know, Energizer Bunny gets her crew together. That's about the best time to be down here if you want to see all the boats and, of course, the interesting lifestyle that goes along with it. So this is also the time that I'm on the dock trying to measure up my President's Choice Awards for the sexiest crew and, of course, the best audio system on the boat, and that is sponsored by JL Audio. Of course, all of this fun and excitement is somewhat contagious, so Team Fountain decided to get in on the action. Simon Williams at the helm with a couple of his female crew members now deciding, well, if you can do it, we can do it better. So thank you to all of these spirited teams for ending our afternoon of boating with a little bit of fun dockside here at the Tampa Convention Center. And for those of you who want to do something a little different to kill an hour or so, maybe longer, take a ride up the Hillsborough River. The bridge is right there beside the Tampa Convention Center. It's a very nice ride, and it starts out with Tampa Riverwalk, which is all built up with all kinds of attractions. But once you get past all of the more built-up area, you'll get into this kind of residential backwater area where there's a lot of beautiful homes, and then you finally get to this Lowry Park. And Nick Buis from Statement told me, if you go to Lowry Park, there's a huge boat ramp there, and look at all the parking. And he says by the time you get there, you're in brackish water, so you don't have to flush your motors from the salt water. And now traveling back downriver towards downtown, there's the Tampa River Center. Remember I told you there's a place for those dragon boats? Well, this is where they all hang out, and they keep them stored here. And that is all part of this Julian B. Lane Riverfront Park. It's about a 25-acre park here along the downtown area. And the sightseeing along here is just amazing, and seems like it just keeps getting better as we pass the docks here at University of Tampa. Seems like a lot of their female students would prefer to study out here on the docks, so that's fine with us. Maybe we can do some recruiting for the next poker run. Take a close look at this little classic rental boat. Yes, indeed, it has an old 60s upboard motor. It's actually an electric Torpedo motor using the old housing. They have a fleet of those at the Tampa Convention Center that you can rent for little rides. And if you take a closer look, there's a lot of cool, nostalgic boats there from the late 50s and early 60s. But I think that this is a worthwhile trip for anybody who just wants to see a part of Tampa that they probably would not otherwise see. There's a lot of bridges to go through. There's actually a few places where you can hit the throttles and get up on plane and run fast for a little ways. But with this cigarette and the kind of noise we put out, I decided to do most of this trip at slow speed. But a very enjoyable ride, and I recommend it for anybody. And that wraps up a great day of boating on Friday. Friday evening, we had another captain's meeting for the late arrivals, and many of us went off to various local dinner establishments, including Jackson's Bistro and American Social. And fast forward to Saturday morning, and a beautiful morning it is here on the Tampa waterfront, and a hot rod pontoon boat to go along with it. Yes, indeed, Nick Buis from Statement Marine loaned us this 30-foot Bennington pontoon boat, if you will, as a courtesy shuttle to move people back and forth to the dock. And it did so very quickly because it had, yes indeed, a pair of Mercury Racing, wait for it, Mercury Racing 450Rs color match to the boat. First time I've ever seen anything like this, a 900 horsepower pontoon boat. Thanks to Nick and Statement for letting us use this as a courtesy shuttle to help all of our fellow Florida Powerboat Club members out. And the good news is for 2024, the construction will be completed, so we'll have pedestrian access to those additional docks on the other side. But right now, it's all about falling off the deck of the boat. Yes, indeed. Gary and Jen Nelson pulling up for their first poker card here on Saturday morning as we kick things off, or for that matter, maybe throw people off the deck of the boat. But no, she's okay. She made it safely, got the card, and away we go. The Saturday rendition of the Tampa Bay Poker Run, getting our cards. And yes, of course, it's the Energizer Bunny back, Eric and Hagen Glazer. Hagen at the lead, picking up her card with all of her lovely crew members. Oh boy, I can't help but think of that movie with Meg Ryan, and the lady says, I'll have what she's having. Well, we need to have a little more of what Hagen has for breakfast, because I could use a little energy like that. And I'm very grateful that this crew paid a lot of attention at the captain's meeting the night before, because they have their life jackets on, regardless of the fact that it's those $5, U.S. Coast Guard approved life jackets. Everybody's got them on, and thumbs up to this crew. Ron Paul on team Nothing But Time. And it's a game changer. That's right, David Landsman and Jenny Landsman leading her crew of lovely ladies. But this one has the sea legs to get up there and grab that poker card. Good job, ladies. And they have got a full crew on board, as they always do. And once again, this is why you want to own a big Midnight Express 43 Solstice, because there's lots of room for everybody, lots of seating, a big wide beamy interior, so you could have 15 or 20 people on board this boat and still go out and have fun. And let's welcome back Rob and Bethany Boucher in this 36-foot front runner, Team DIVEOCEAN. And Rob has actually been here with a front runner before, at least twice before. It was a 39-foot model with quad Mercury Racing 400Rs. But downsizing a little, this 36 is a new model from Front Runner. The boats are built in Jacksonville. Nice to see Rob as being the ambassador for the brand. I'm not sure if he's a salesperson, but he seems to love the Front Runner product, and he's doing a great job of getting these boats out here on poker runs. And it's another Statement, this time Craig Blankenship in this 35 Statement. And I guess the video guy missed this young lady getting the card. Shame on him. I think that was me, actually. But at least we've got a nice shot of the boat, and Craig is doing his second poker run with the club. We saw him earlier this year on the February Miami Boat Show poker run, and back here now in Tampa. And Craig, I gotta say, quickly establishing high marks with FBC with this lovely crew. And it's one more time with Kevin Kugler and his first mate Andrea Sneed, all the way from Ohio in this 38 Fountain Mercury 500 EFIs, but they're pimped out with Whipple charges. So let's listen into these monsters rumble as they pass by the dock. And one more time with Joey Castellana from New York, a team that often does the Key West Poker Run as well as the Miami Boat Show Poker Run, but here they are in Tampa. First time on the new motors, re-rigged this Skater 388 with Mercury Racing 1100s. They sound awesome. Now I know where the team name came from. Well, it appears to me that Gary and Troy Karwowski have had a good time, because they've returned now with their 2018 Mystic 4200. It's got triple 350 Verados. But they have done events before at Key West and also the Tampa Run a year earlier. So they said they had a great time, and that's why they came back. Everybody on board except the captain, all from Connecticut, a long way from home. Thanks, guys. Glad you could join us. And it's another local team. This time it's Julian Colson, Team Peckerheads Tree. Well, that's because his company is Peckerheads Tree and Environmental. Great name. He said that the event highlights for him were that it was their first time doing a poker run, and it was all smiles from ear to ear. And here's a regular on this event, Greg Tolson, one of our local teams in Team Power Trips, 34 Nortec, their 9th year in a row doing the Tampa run. And for many of those years, it was in a Sensation 32. And what brings Greg back, he says that we love how well planned the events are in downtown Tampa and mingling with all the great people that attend. And it's a big shout out to George and Carrie Olson. They came all the way from Texas to show off this new 38-foot Top Gun. Well, new to them, they've had a bunch of boats in the club before, but they just got this Top Gun. Now, wait a minute. George Olson, didn't we just have Tolson, and then before that we had Colson? So, Colson, Tolson, and Olson. 3 in a row. Did you guys have any idea? I mean, did you get together and plan this? Because we certainly didn't. And it's another beautiful Midnight Express. This time it's Zach Polsky in his 43 Solstice model. Big Mercury Racing 450Rs. I love the color and paint on this boat. Is absolutely spectacular how everything matches perfectly. They joined us for Key West recently with this 43 Midnight, and they came all the way from New Jersey to join us here in Tampa. And it's another team from Nortec. This time it's Thomas and Susan Klein in their Nortec 390 Sport. And they told us it's their very first poker run, so the entire weekend was a huge highlight for them and for their crew. They came up from Punta Gorda on their own bottom, so they're getting a lot of boating in this weekend. This is a 2022 39 Nortec Sport with triple Mercury Racing 450Rs. I love the layout, love the colors. Guys, it doesn't get much better than this. What a beautiful ride this is. And I know that's the shot you guys have been waiting for as Hannah reaches out and, yes, indeed, hands the card off to Michael Chisuli on his 39-foot MTI. He's actually left the helm so that he can go up and get the card himself. So, nice job, Mike. You got some good sea legs there walking around on the boat. Mike's on a run now with the club. He does at least 5 runs a year with FPC. And it's another 39-foot MTI cat. This time a local member, Jim Wiley, and his first mate, Sarah, grabbing the poker card. Jim's been in the club a very long time, and I wouldn't even begin to try to count all the boats he's owned over that time. And now let's welcome Mark Stoddart and his crew all the way from Canada, regulars with the club for many, many years and a lot of different boats over that time. And while the majority of the boats that Mark has owned over the years are performance boats, this is the very first center console, and he seems to be loving it. The boat was originally built by Jim Schultz from Illinois. He's the owner of Factory Billet. But he became friends with Mark, and now Mark is the proud owner. And it seems like boats with green trim are in right now, as now Chris and Shelby Mattingly pull up from Kentucky in their Midnight Express 43. Team Never Enough. And strangely enough, their prior boat was an Outer Limits 46 with Mercury Racing 1075s. But I think that this big Midnight just suits their poker run lifestyle perfectly. And a very special welcome and congratulations, really, to Jack and Jennifer Kudo and Team Trimmed Out. And why? Well, that's because they're in their brand new Nortec 390 Sport, and it's the very first poker run for the new boat. It's got quad Mercury Racing 450Rs. Dealer of record was Legend Marine of Texas, and there's factory guy Jeff Tomlinson riding along today. Good to have Jeff joining us for the event, which has a total of 11 Nortecs registered. Pretty good. And it was so cool to have this team back in this 42 Fountain, a very noticeable boat, Team Made in America. That is Mark and Spencer Headley from Ohio, and the boat's been redone again. Graphics look fantastic. The engines were detuned from 1075s down to 700s. What a great looking and great sounding machine. Well, that was a great poker card checkpoint, and we are way over our 30-minute mark, guys, stretching it out on this episode. But the good news is we got a full day of boating ahead with lots of excitement on this 13th annual Tampa Bay Poker Run, and there are going to be 2 full episodes with feature coverage of that event. So that's just around the corner, guys. We're going to sign off for now. Remember, if you want to catch these next upcoming shows, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you'll get an update every time a new episode is released. Be sure to check out the website at flpowerboat.com for all of the details about upcoming poker run events in 2021, as well as membership information. You can follow us on Facebook at Florida Powerboat Club, and you can follow us on Twitter and on these Instagram pages. Thanks to all of our viewers for your wonderful comments on our page, and you guys know who you are, and I really do appreciate that. But if you have questions or comments you want to direct to me specifically, please use my personal email at stu@flpowerboat.com. I check that daily, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. We're going to sign off for now. This is Stu Jones, along with our producer Ryan McCoy, in the Pompano Beach studio. Have fun out there, guys. Be safe on the waterways. Wear your life jackets when the time is right, and always respect your fellow boaters. Bye for now.